So let's talk about the dark art of pricing our products. How much should we be charging for our products, and how can we make sure that people want to buy them? My name is Charlotte Allen and you've reached my channel, The Felting Alchemist. So I think the first thing that you want to really consider when you're pricing your products is the cost of your materials. And I know this is something obvious, but it gets missed by a lot of people. And I think we're in a really lucky position as needle felting artists because wool is relatively inexpensive and you can add kind of other luxurious items to your piece, being, I don't know, feathers or maybe some gold leaf or things like that. But ultimately the cost of the wool itself is pretty low, so we don't need to worry too much about the high cost of materials within our art. If you're a painter or anything like that, obviously that's very different for you. But the other thing that you need to consider, which gets overlooked by a lot of people, is the cost of your postage and packaging. You really need to incorporate this into the price of your product. So things like the tissue, if you're putting in a little packet of Haribo like I do into your item as a thank you to your customers when they get it, the cost of your stickers, your labels, or your stationery and things like that. Oh, the cogs are turning in my head today. All those things are really important, so make sure that you're charging for them. Now, the next thing that you need to be making sure you're charging for is your time. Now, this can be very different depending on your level of skill within your art, be it needle felting, painting, clay, modelling clay, anything like that. So this kind of video is for everyone really. But what I would do is I would, be honest with yourself in terms of your level of skill. And then I would go on to somewhere like Etsy, or even somewhere like, I think there's there's another new one that's come up in the UK, or Fair or Folksy, places like that. And I would look at about 10 other artists that are making similar products to what you're making at the moment. And it doesn't have to be exact, but there or thereabouts something similar that you make. And I would look at the very low level of that and the very high premium luxury level. So look at 10, 15 items, the more the better, but 10 at a minimum, I would say. And then look at the bottom price and the highest price. And then take the medium. Well, look at your art and decide, where do I sit? Where do I sit within this Richter scale of 1 to 10? And it may be that you sit at 6, it may be you sit at 10, or you might sit a bit lower if you've just started out, or you might, it might be like a duck to water. Oh, duck behind me here. And you pick up the skill really easily. It's easy for you, and you're already at a very high standard. But it's more about your level of skill than it is about the time it's taken you to get to that level of skill, if that makes sense. And so it takes some people longer than others. But consider that, and then put yourself within that Richter scale of where you think you sit. Then factor in your material costs, and you should come up with a figure that you can sell your products at. Now, the other thing that you also want to consider is, if you're thinking of making this a full-time business eventually, is how much money you need to make every month in order to meet your bills, pay for food, fuel, mortgage, rent, all that kind of stuff. So you need to take that into consideration as well, and factor that into the costs of your collections as you make them and your products. So the next thing that I think is really key to remember when you're pricing your products is that you don't want to price them too low, okay? Because by pricing them too low, people will automatically decide in their heads, and it's kind of there's a psychology behind this. I couldn't tell you what it is at the moment, but there's a psychology behind it whereby there was an experiment in the States, and I think it was on like a university campus, and they were selling coffee. And the first day they sold this coffee in just bog standard, horrible kind of cardboard cups, nothing special at all. And they sold them, and they sold them at kind of like a cheap price, and nothing crazy went on. The following day they sold exactly the same coffee at a much higher price in these really lovely cups, are really tactile and look really luxury and deluxe. And they sold loads of them. And it was the same drink, exactly the same drink. It was just in different packaging. So the moral of the story is make your packaging look awesome. Okay, so be it ribbons, be it bows, be it confetti. Some people don't like confetti. My husband hates confetti, but you know, things like that. Be it that you put a little trinket inside, a little freebie. Make it look beautiful. Make it look like fairies have packaged it for your customer, and they will absolutely love it. Especially as a lot of our customers, the majority of them are women. They are women, sort of within the sort of the age range of kind of 30 to 60. So you get a lot of appreciation for putting the time and effort into the packaging and making their product look beautiful inside and out. So really take your time packaging the product, and you can really charge premium prices then for your items, and people will be really happy when they receive something looking beautiful. And it's like, you know, if you buy something online and it turns up and the box is broken and all the packaging's ripped, and you've got your product inside and it's fine, it's not broken or anything, the actual product, but it's just a bit sad when the packaging is all torn and it just looks bedraggled. Whereas when you get something in the post and it's got beautiful tissue on it and a lovely sticker and maybe a sprinkling of confetti or a bit of perfume in there and a lovely handwritten note from someone saying thank you so much for buying this product. It's just lovely, isn't it? It just feels nice to get something like that. So really consider that when you're packaging up your products. And the final story that I want to leave you with, and this again is reiterating how important it is that we charge properly for our time. And I'm going to tell you this story, probably the overall meaning of the story is correct. I can't remember the exact details, so forgive me if I get bits of this wrong. But effectively, it involves Picasso. And he was in a cafe and he drew a sketch on a piece of paper. And another customer approached him and said, "Oh, please, can I have that?" And he said, "Yes, of course. It will cost you £10,000. And the customer said, "But you've literally just sketched it. It took you 2 seconds to do. I think that's outrageous that you're charging me £10,000 for that." And he was like, No, my friend, this hasn't taken me 2 seconds. This has taken me a lifetime to draw." And he's absolutely right. The skill that you have hasn't just taken you 2 seconds. It's taken you years potentially to develop. Some people maybe less, but it's still taken you a lot of time to develop your skill. So somebody at the door. So you really need to factor that in. So I hope you found this video helpful, and I will be back soon with more tips and more needle felting tutorials. So I shall see you soon. Bye.